All right, welcome to another episode of the Couch Coaches podcast, where we talk about everything going on in sports, and everything right now is football. And we've gotten through week one of the NFL season, and two of us are very happy, and one of us is not so happy. Deacon Hill, I'm going to start with you and your guys' 0-1 record. Please go ahead. What did you see?
Our 0-1 record. Okay, well, I will start off by saying it's going to be a long season. It's a long season. That's a game one. So, the Super Bowl ain't won in September, first game of the season. But to be honest, I even said that on our last podcast that the quarterback was my biggest concern, and I'm still concerned about that position with the quarterback. Wasn't able to generate any offense consistently. Completions, very minimal. We got a number one receiver that you can't get the ball to more than 15 yards down the field. So that's a big problem for me. The defense was strong. The defense, it was a 2-point game, 9-7 or something going into the fourth quarter. So it was a tight game. Then they, at the end they kind of pulled away from us. The final score 22-10 or something like that. But so I ain't gonna be too worried about the defense. And coaching kind of concerned me a little bit too. I think a couple times he could have went for it. It was at a 4th and 1, and he decided to punt the ball. You're already trailing, and it was in the fourth quarter. You might as well try and make something happen. But so just those issues are really standing out to me. I hope that when we go on the road this week to Baltimore, that is going to be a tough task. They're coming off a loss also, but Baltimore is a stout team, and they're playing their home opener, so that's going to be another tough assignment. But I'm going to be optimistic. That's why they play the game. You just can't pencil them in just because they're a tough team. I'm going to be optimistic, but we really have to have some quarterback improvement. If we don't get any improvement, the run game was kind of skeptic. White, he ran the ball pretty hard, but then a costly fumble. On a drive that he was running the ball and he coughed the ball up. You cannot turn the ball over. So those things concern me, but we'll see going forward.
Yeah, I saw you guys take it on a 4th and 1. I think it was in your own territory towards the beginning of the game, and it was a everything was terrible. And I think you guys ended up losing a yard on the play. I'm wondering if that play is why they didn't go for it when they should have gone for it, like at the end of the game, because you think you would it's a yard, just make a hole and punch the hole. And
at that late in the game, you have to go for it. I mean, if you have any chance, at that point, your defense is starting to leak a little bit. They've been on the field, for a long time.
Right.
So you really have to try to, make something happen. So
who's the other? You guys have two running backs, one that does like the more of the catching, right?
Jameer White is the one that actually replaced Josh Jacobs. He's our number one back, and then we do have another back. I don't even know his name, but yeah, he's pretty good.
Flies.
Yeah.
He flies.
Yeah.
He looks like a Alvin Kamara kind of a player.
Yeah. So like I said, I think they still early. We'll see what happens. It's my team. I ain't giving up on them.
Yeah, well, your defense will be like, you really see. I mean, Chargers are going to have probably a good offense once they get kind of humming. So you guys pretty much shut them down for a good chunk of the game. Baltimore, it'll be like that. You'll really see where you are as a defense, because Lamar's a freak, and that whole offense, when it's clicking, it looks pretty unstoppable. And something to look forward to with quarterback play. I was thinking about this. If Kirk Cousins keeps having bad games because they don't have an offense that really fits what he does, like he's a play action quarterback, and I don't think they ran one play action pass. He could be available because the fans could be cheering for Penix, and they could go, well, this guy's really expensive. He could be a quarterback that I think you guys probably should have gotten in the offseason anyways. And he could air that ball out to Devontae for sure.
We'll see.
All right, and on to the big Monday night W, Brother Bill. Thoughts on what you saw yesterday?
Yeah, I'm glad to see that Kyle Shanahan stuck to the running game early, even after the Jets took the lead on their second drive. He didn't panic. I was pleasantly surprised how well the 49ers were able to control the line of scrimmage offensively. I mean, they were blowing holes for Mason for most of the game. And it should have been in the 40s. I mean, yes, you got, you scored 8 times with 6 field goals. 3 of those should have been touchdowns to me the way they were moving the ball. But you take a win. I mean, the Jets defense showed that they're the strength of the team. They just got worn down. I mean, almost 2-1 time of possession. The 49ers didn't turn the ball over. Purdy played very well. A couple of passes, one got away from him, one could have been picked. Aside from that, I mean, he played a very good game. It was a solid game. The defense did what they had to do early. Fred Warner on that Peanut Tillman punch out early in the game set the tone for the defense, I believe, for the rest of the game. Even after they gave up that one touchdown, for to the Jets in the first half. That last touchdown, that was a garbage touchdown. So to me, the game was one of the trenches. Just one game, no overreaction. They're going to have a tough game at Minnesota because it's a short week. They have to travel, and it's an early game. And so I think the keys, once again, is going to be controlling the ball, protecting the ball, and continuing to mix it up.
Yeah, Moody turned into Justin Tucker. I mean, that dude was. I mean, he had one that kind of curved in and caught it. He was nailing those down the middle from 50, from 40, from man. He looked like the dude that should have been drafted in the 3rd round 2 years ago. He looked awesome. Ayuk a little rusty hands, maybe get a little more sticky stuff on those hands when Purdy drops that little dime for you in the corner. It's not a good look. You're $30 million. You just dropped the ball.
I like the way the 49ers used Kyle Juszczyk. There was one play where he ran based on the sideline on the right side, and Purdy missed him. Yep. And even Troy Aikman said, hopefully someone upstairs in the Niners press box saw that. And sure enough, they just switched it up and put Juszczyk on the left side, wide open. I mean, if you can get production like that from your fullback, that's found money.
Especially because most teams don't even have a fullback.
Right.
I think one of the best takeaways for you guys is you found a backup for McCaffrey. You guys are going to have to use him like a workhorse all season, like you guys have a tendency to do. Because what's that guy's name, Mason or whatever his name is?
Jordan Mason. Yep.
He ran the ball. He ran it hard. I think some of that has to do with preparation. When you don't know a running back, the Jets didn't know this guy, so they didn't prepare for him. They didn't know that you guys had a guy that could run that hard, So that had a lot to do with it. But on the upside, you guys do. He is a good running back, a good 1-2 or substitute whenever McCaffrey needs a break or something like that. So I'll give you guys that. But also, I wouldn't go overboard like Bill was doing the other day when he was texting about how great it was, and I had to kind of bring him down to reality. Aaron Rodgers is a shell of himself. He made it easy for your guys' defense. Look. I always think back to when Muhammad Ali was on the decline. All great athletes will show a flash of something good, in which Aaron Rodgers did. He threw a couple good passes. That one that you said, that touchdown early, actually, you guys had a guy offsides. He was so far offsides, he was in the backfield, and I think everybody kind of stopped a little bit. And then the guy got behind you guys, Aaron Rodgers threw it down there. But he made a couple good plays like that. But for the majority of the game, Aaron Rodgers is not the Aaron Rodgers that he once was. He can't make plays with his legs. He don't move around in the pocket. He had a couple of drops. I'll give him that. But if you get a young, consistent quarterback that's putting pressure on your defense, it makes a difference. Then you just got a guy that's just going to be, where he's going to be. Let's have a meeting at the quarterback. He's going to be right there. Let's just have a meeting at the quarterback. And that's basically what you guys were doing.
Aaron Rodgers isn't the reason why the Jets lost the game. The Jets lost the game because they lost the battle of the trenches on both sides of the ball. Their offensive line and their defensive line. That's what the game was lost.
I didn't say he was the reason they lost. I'm saying he didn't help out. Yeah, you need every element of the game. Just like you were talking about Purdy, and he was the passer that he was there. When you got a running back that's knocking off 3 or 4 yards of crack, that makes it life much easier.
That's my point. So the reason why that game was the way it was because the Niners could run the ball and the Jets couldn't. It starts with the running game. We always talk about that. And if you can't control the line of scrimmage, you're not going to be comfortable. Purdy was comfortable back there passing the ball. Rodgers wasn't comfortable. Why? Because there was constantly getting pressure in his face.
But when Purdy had to run, did he run the ball? Did he roll out and make?
Well, I told you he was going to do that, but you didn't believe me. You were saying that last week, and I said we're just going to watch and see what Purdy does. So, I mean, that's nothing new. That's not a new flash.
My point is, Aaron Rodgers is not doing that. He has not. I don't think he's capable of doing that.
He shouldn't have to. My point is, he shouldn't have to. Not at 40 years old.
He was scared.
If
He
you're
didn't
gonna
want
play
to run.
Brett Favre wasn't doing that. Tom Brady wasn't doing that. When you've got a 40-year-old quarterback, you can't depend on if you have to put you stake your game on your quarterback at 40 years old getting out and running, then you're in trouble. You got to find another way. You got to be able to run that ball.
If you plan on winning the Super Bowl, you got to have a quarterback that can do that. You ain't gonna win no Super Bowl without it. Okay.
Well, we're planning on winning the Super Bowl, so
Facts.
put that out there. All right. So Deacon Hill, I'll start with you. Any surprises that you saw first week of the NFL? Just something you were not expecting, good or bad?
Well, just like you said, the Cincinnati game, that one stood out to me. That Cincinnati, lost at home to the Patriots, and with a new rookie head coach and things like that. So that one stood out to me. And then and Caleb Williams for the Bears, that he was kind of
it's so off.
Well, lucky that defense came through, because he looked like, I don't know what he would look like out there. Remember we were talking about he was overrated, kind of had us in the mind of Kyler Murray a little bit.
Yeah.
He kind of played like that game. So hopefully that was just rookie jitters on the opening day or whatever. But if not, they're going to be in for a long season.
Yeah, it's funny. So on my way to church before anything started on Sunday, I was listening to this interview with Bill. Somebody was quoting a Bill Belichick thing, and they're like, everybody's like, "Oh man, did you see these plays that Caleb Williams did during the preseason?" He's like, "Well, one, who's he playing against? Two, it's a broken play and he's running around, so it's not really like a crafted thing." He's like, three, so he went 10 for 20 in the preseason. Like, why are we anointing him? Like we were talking before we started. Why did USC retire his number? What? He's not even like the top 3-4 best quarterback that's been at USC. Why are they retiring his number on the right when he it's crazy. And then he goes out, and I think he threw for like 95 yards, but they had like 55 yards of pass.
93 yards, but penalties or sacks. So 14 of 29 for 64 yards.
Yeah,
that was his line.
That's insane. and they won. That's the crazy. Everybody's like, oh, he's the first, like the last top quarterbacks. They're opening it like 0 for 15 or something like that. It's like he should have lost that game by 1,000,000 points, but they were not playing a great team.
If Will Levis doesn't make the bonehead play of the game, then the Bears very easily could have lost that game.
And yeah, they 100% with the quarterback's line like that, they should have 100% lost that game. So that surprised me how bad he did. I don't think he's going to be like some amazing player. He's got a lot of skills. He does remind me of Kyler. Kyler came out swinging, if I remember correctly. He came out good and very hard to handle immediately, and Caleb did not look that hard to handle, but maybe he can if he gets his footwork and stuff, but he holds the ball too long. Like that's one of his big things at USC. I remember last year when he didn't play in their bowl game, their offense looked like it was running a whole lot smoother than when he was in there. And granted, his talent level is really high, but the NFL is built on the people with the most talent losing their positions to the people with like either have a better understanding of the game or play harder or whatever. I mean, it's not very little is about just strictly talent in the NFL. Brother Bill, do you have what surprises you?
Yeah, I was gonna say Caleb Williams. I mean, so to me, he played like a rookie. And let's be fair. I mean, his rookie showed in that moment, right? CJ Stroud, what he did last year, to me is rare to see a rookie play that well. And so to think that Caleb Williams is going to do that this year, I just don't see. I mean, and that's not a criticism. I'm just saying it's rare to see rookie quarterbacks play as well as CJ Stroud did last year and even yesterday. Stroud in his second year is not playing like a second year quarterback.
Yeah. So well, also the Bears but the Bears have way better weapons.
That's why Caleb just plays a little bit better than the Bears can win some games, but he can't do what he did yesterday. That's not sustainable. Well, other teams are going to have better offenses. You're not going to have quarterbacks, just throwing the ball away, throwing, just lame interceptions.
Yeah. One thing that it doesn't surprise me, the player, but the response to the player surprises me when people just go what happened to Deshaun Watson, because I don't think Deshaun Watson was ever like, he was fantastic in college. He's never been a great pro. Like, they would get to the playoffs under an offense. Bill O'Brien's is his strong suit is offense. And then he would be terrible in the playoff games. And everybody's talking about him like he was his top 2, top 3 quarterback in the league. And he was never that. But when I was thinking about, they're like, oh, what happened to him? Is it mental? He had DeAndre Hopkins the whole time he was in Houston. DeAndre Hopkins is like a mistake eraser. I mean, he's a dude where when we would play him when he was in Arizona, Kyler could throw to him 15 times the game, and we could not do anything to stop the guy. Like, Deshaun likes to kind of do the backyard, move around, move the pocket and stuff. And I don't know if there's anybody better ever than DeAndre Hopkins. The dude's quick, and he's got hands, and he's tough, and you can throw to him 100 times a game, and he's going to get the ball. And I think Deshaun may be missing him more than he's missing his massages and whatever he was doing when he was in Houston.
You say you don't know if it's mental. I think mental has a lot to do with it. Just like we were saying, the talent level ain't that much separation of talent. But you have to have it up here. And with all the stuff that's going on in his personal life, he just got another lawsuit just filed against him the day of the game, another lawsuit. So that stuff has to be weighing on you. You could try to come out there and try to say the right things and go through the motion. I would even harping back to Tiger Woods, how great he was until he got exposed, and he never was the same on the golf course again. So it's all mental, especially at the quarterback position. You got to be sharp. So I would think a lot of that you say he never was a great player. He was a very consistent player. He was pretty good. He made plays. I would say he had confidence. He don't even seem like he has confidence anymore. The way he plays now, even the confidence has gone away. So
do you see the clip where he went to help an offensive lineman up, and the guy like shoot his hand away, and somebody else helped him up?
Yeah, see,
I thought that was an interesting. I thought that was an interesting.
Respect for you. Your own teammates lose respect for you. So all that has to play a part in your playing the game.
And they still owe him all that money. He's like on that team for like 11 years. It's crazy.
One thing I did think was funny to see is, this morning, the sports talk was already talking about, okay, is this team or that team a Super Bowl contender? You don't even bother asking that question after week 1. I mean, why even bother? Are the Cowboys a Super Bowl contender? Again, overreaction. I mean,
Definitely not.
The Niners, I mean, it's week 1. We're in the first game of the first quarter of the season.
But
pump the brakes.
We all know the Cowboys are not real contenders. They play awesome.
Hey, I do have to give you guys quarterback, your backup from last year, which I've been on ever since he came into the NFL. He for the Vikings came out.
Oh, Darnold?
Yeah.
Sam Darnold?
Yeah, I didn't think I always said he's a turnover machine, but he actually played some ball yesterday on Sunday. So he played some ball, and I have to give him credit because I thought.
Wait. Who are they playing? The New York Giants. There you go.
in New York, opening day. Everybody's expectations are over the roof on opening day, Bill.
The Giants lost because of those unis. They didn't know who was on their team. Those are the worst unis I've ever seen.
That's the uniform they wore. They wore whatever it was 100 years ago.
Yeah,
like I looked it up.
That was a throwback uni. Throw it back.
When I first saw it, I'm like, "There's no way they wore these colors 100 years ago." They wore those colors. But I don't think I could be more sad if I was a fan than either the Giants or the Panthers, and more the Giants, because the Giants have like old fans. The Panthers are a relatively new team. That's a sorry team, man. They should go to jail for what they're doing to Daniel Jones by giving him all that money like he's an actual QB1 and putting him out there and just being horrific.
And let Saquon Barkley go, and you see what he did.
Oh, he did.
I know. He's on my fantasy team. I saw it. It was very nice.
Wait till the Eagles play the Giants. Oh my goodness.
It'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. So before we jump into college, Tyreek gets handcuffed and thrown on the ground by some pretty over. I mean, the way it escalated from him just being kind of rude and putting the window up to the cop just like not even giving him a chance to get out of the car at all and throwing him on the ground. I will say this, this is kind of something you see. So in San Jose, you have to have a bachelor's degree in order to be a police officer. You have to have a level of education. That is not the case in other states. And I'm assuming because the dude's got tattoos. I mean, I know I have tattoos and stuff, but the dude's got tattoos all over his hands and neck. I'm assuming you just have to have a GED or high school diploma in order to be a cop in Florida. And it's Florida, so I'm assuming maybe you don't even need that. But the way they reacted to him, just, I mean, being rude, but like not even giving him a chance to get out of the car was right before a game was wild. And then he goes in and absolutely destroys. And then does the thing when he does the touchdown. Total stud move. Brother Bill, I'll start with you just on just general thoughts on it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I think the whole incident, it should not have gotten to that level. And to me, there's a difference between when interacting with law enforcement, there's a difference between, okay, if you don't follow instructions, right? Because that's I guess what police union said, that he wasn't cooperative. But with everything that's been going on over the past several years with the relationship between law enforcement and citizens across the country, I was led to believe that there was going to be emphasis on training officers more methods to de-escalate so that it doesn't turn out the way it did yesterday. So that's what was disappointing, that if a citizen, okay, so he rolled up the window, officer said roll it down, so he rolls it down, they rolled it back up. At that point, it seems like there should have been an opportunity to say, okay, rather than having to drag him out of the car and throw him around, that should not have happened for something as simple as a traffic violation. So that to me was disappointing. Now on to the game. You put that aside, and does what he does on the field is just Tyreek just being special, right? The Dolphins, they are going to go as far as Tua and their running game take them, because you know what their passing game is. I don't expect their defense to get better, but to me, the key to the Dolphins' success centers around their quarterback and taking care of the ball, making plays, and being able to run the ball.
And it'll be a real big. They'll have a real big test because they're playing the Bills this weekend, so it's perfect. Deacon Hill.
Well, I agree with with Brother Bill about the excessive force and the escalation. My thing is I think some police have a tendency, when they see these athletes like that driving that type of car, I think envy, jealousy, or something kind of creeps into the equation. And it's like, let me show you that you're not all of that or whatever. And I think that kind of gets to the point of where the escalation comes in. Like you said, he had the window down. He said, they said, you don't have your seatbelt on and you were driving. He said, okay, well, let's do what you got to do. And then he rolled his window back up. And then the guy came and, tapped on it and told him to roll it down. He rolled it down just a little bit. And then his buddy comes over and wants to be Superman and take over the whole situation. But that's the guy. That's the point I say. That's the guy I think that has some kind of something underlining behind his character or something like that, where they want to make a point and want to make a point, which was I hope if nobody else has to pay a price, that guy needs to pay a price. He's the same guy that sat him back down once he was handcuffed and came behind him and jumped on his back like he's Superman and pushes him to the ground again, make him sit down. Could have hurt the guy really bad. He told him I just had knee surgery or whatever. He don't care about none of that. But again, on the field, Bill, which I disagree with, is that celebration after he scored. I think you want to have a platform, because he was trying to go. He almost went a different way, but then he said, "What if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? What if this?" So you want to be serious about these incidents like that, to make light of it, and that had to be rehearsed with your teammate to come behind you and act like you're going to be handcuffed again in the end zone for that celebration. I don't think you need to show that to, like I say, what kind of role model are you showing to the kids? Or it's okay to get pulled over and then go get in the game if you're a superstar and we can reenact and play this game or something like that. It's not a game. So I don't think that was appropriate that they celebrated that way. If I was him, I'd have used my platform more to show what the escalation and things like that on the police's force. I wouldn't have tried to make light of it in no kind of way.
But so
Sorry, yeah, so I stand correctly. When I say Tyreek is being Tyreek, I wasn't talking about celebration. I was just talking about just his performance. I mean, just him being able to, I mean, just being the game breaker that he is. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I know that's what you were saying. I was just adding on to
Okay.
the celebration.
Okay.
and in Tyreek's defense, uh, he's a terrible role model. I mean, already. I mean, the dude like broke his kid's arm. He like got in trouble for hitting his girlfriend or whatever. He's got like 12 kids with like 9 different chicks, and they're all born at like the same time. Like he's already a horrific role model. He says he wants to be a porn star when he's done playing football. Like we're not dealing with, we're not dealing with like the cream of the crop here as far as like, so
Okay. Well,
it's on, let's just say it's on brand. It's on like his performance on the field and all his other stuff it is Tyreek being Tyreek. He's on brand for sure. So we have 4 minutes left. Did anything jump out to you as far as either one of you as far as college? I'll just throw it out to if there's something that you've seen over the last couple of weeks that you're like, I love this, or this is a surprise how bad this is.
Notre Dame is in trouble.
Ditto.
Did we lock?
Uh-oh.
I hear you.
Froze.
You froze. There
Oh,
you go.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Well, I think Notre Dame is going to happen. Like they were in trouble kind of last year, and then they go, oh, we're Notre Dame, and we're also high level players. One, we shouldn't pay a team $2 million to come beat us on our home field. But two, we're much better than that. I think it'll dial them in. Like they're not world beaters, but they're obviously better than losing to Northern Illinois University.
Yeah, but like they said today, as far as getting into the playoffs, they have the 57th easy ranked schedule. So they only got like 2 teams, USC and I can't think of the other team, Vanderbilt, not Vanderbilt, but 2 teams that are notable teams that's on their schedule. So it's like they're not going to get into the playoffs.
But USC looks really, really good. So if they were to beat them, which I don't see that happening, they could be like the 12th seed. Because USC looks great so far.
Yeah, that's my team. I'm Trojans fighting Trojans.
Yeah, you're right. Looking at their schedule, USC is ranked 11th, and there are, they play they play 4 other teams that aren't even ranked. And then the others that they play are ranked 18 or lower. So even if they stack up wins, they're not going to be, I mean, the computer is not going to reward them very well unless they're putting, 60 burgers on them to even get them into the playoffs.
And they definitely don't have that offense to be dropping 60 points on anybody.
Right.
The
other shocker to me was the way Texas beat Michigan. I mean, not the fact they won, but just the way they beat them. I mean, that I didn't see that coming. I thought Michigan I didn't expect a lot from Michigan to do as much offensively. But the way Texas just ran on that Michigan defense, that surprised me.
Yeah, my wife's cousin, they're from Michigan, so she went up to the Fresno State game the week before, and I was like, "How did you not go to the Texas game?" And she's like, "We're gonna get killed." And I'm like, "There's no way you're not gonna get killed." And by halftime, I'm like, "It's a pretty good call not to go to this game."
Maybe you should have her on here. She sees more than you, more than you do.
She would be good on this. She's in Chicago though, so she'd be sleeping by the time we're jumping on here, especially if it's on the debate night where we're jumping on really late. All right, so we have big games. We got Minnesota, Baltimore. It'll be a good test. We don't historically play well in Minnesota. Baltimore's a great team, so I think we're gonna. I think both our teams are gonna have a tough weekend, win or lose. Hopefully win.
So you guys are going against Sam Donald, right?
Yeah.
He knows you guys really well.
We should also know him really well too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, see, I mean, knowing a team is one thing. Okay, sure, you're familiar and sure you can scheme. It's gonna be about adjustments. And if the 49ers run the ball against Minnesota the way they did against the Jets, the Niners can sneak out of there with a win. I don't want to say sneak, but I mean they can win, because sneak means that the other team was better than you. And I mean the Niners are favored by 6. I don't really care about point spreads. That to me it says something about the talent level of each teams and the X and O's and the strengths and weaknesses of both teams. So we'll see. It's going to be a tough test, no doubt. We'll see.
All right, guys, we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good week and enjoy all the football games.